Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Fenya and I'm your personal esthetician. In today's video, I want to talk to you guys about hyperpigmentation. Now, I have part 1 and 2 out already, so if you guys haven't seen that one, please watch those two first before you get to this video. This video will be strictly a Q&A video that I had my followers on Instagram ask me, so I will be just answering those questions and going a little bit more in detail about your questions. So before we get started, go ahead and like and subscribe. That way you don't miss on any product knowledge and skincare tutorials. All right, guys, let's get started. So I will be reading the questions off my phone and answering them one at a time and in detail. First question is, what can we use from your line to help with this issue? This issue she's referring to is pigmentation and post-acne scars. So post-acne scars she is also referring to is what is called the PIE. Now, I do talk about this in the first two videos, but PIE stands for post-inflammatory erythema, which are the scars that is left over from a breakout and is kind of red and flesh color, not so much dark brown or light brown colors. So I do post a picture in part 1 and 2 of what a post-inflammatory erythema looks like. So I do suggest that you guys watch that video again to be able to understand what this video is about. So if you have hyperpigmentation, and it is more of a red mark, I would definitely not suggest using the luminance serum. I would suggest maybe using the phyto-calming serum to get rid of that redness because it's still a flesh color. So I don't want you to put acids over a wound and open lesion. So you would maybe start with the phyto-calming serum and the copper complex peptide to allow your skin to rehydrate and calm down and heal itself before you actually start using the luminance serum. So what I would suggest is close that wound first, get it to a healthy state. Chances are the post-inflammatory erythema will turn into a dark mark, and that's when you can actually start using the luminance serum. So next question is, what do I think? I believe she's referring to hydrocodone creams for hyperpigmentation. Now, hydrocodones are a little bit tricky and they're pretty strong. There's a 2%, 4%, 6%, and 8%. Now, anything above 2%, it is prescription, which means it is strong. It could be blended in with different ingredients such as retinols and other acne ingredients, so it could be active. So the rule of thumb with hydrocodone, and any hydrocodone, whether it's 2% or 8%, you really want to use it on 3 months on and 3 months off. Because it goes into your bloodstream, you really want to take a break from it. Usually people don't for some reason. Maybe they don't know, or they just feel like they need to be on it for a long time. It's not the case. You really want to give your skin a break because the longer you use it, the more your skin will get adapted to it and it just won't respond. So you're actually not doing yourself a favor. You're just irritating the skin over and over. So I think there are other options out there, like my luminance serum, which has arbutin in there, which is a natural brightener versus a chemically, prescription intense hydrocodone, but some people prefer it, so I have nothing against it. I just think you have other options. But if you do choose to use hydrocodone, use it correctly, and I would suggest using it maybe every other day or so and up to 3 months. Next question, what are the main causes of hyperpigmentation and how can we prevent it? Unfortunately, we really can't prevent hyperpigmentation because the main reason you get a hyperpigmentation is a trauma to the skin. Now, we can't stop a pimple from happening. That's still a trauma to the skin. We can't stop, sun damage. We can't stop heat on our skin because, again, the, environment or sun exposure. So unfortunately, we really can't prevent it, but we can use ingredients such as, hydroquinones or kojic acid, azelaic acid, and so on to brighten it up and suppress it and get rid of it. Next question is, does popping pimples cause a hyperpigmentation? Yes, absolutely it can, because what we end up doing is we force the pimple out, or we're squeezing it really hard using our nails and trying to get this pustule out, and it can cause your skin to tear quickly open and cause the pigmentation. So even though, let's say you're super gentle and you're really not forcing these pimples out, if the skin is forced to tear open to get this pimple out, it can still unfortunately leave a hyperpigmentation. So I would just say, let it, happen. And once the problem occurs, once the pigmentation happens, then try to treat it. Next question is melasma considered hyperpigmentation? Yes, it is. Melasma is one of the toughest pigmentations to actually get rid of. And you really, it's almost impossible to get rid of melasma. Once you have it, once it pops up, that's it. It's there. It will be there forever. You can maybe suppress it and control it for a couple of months, but it will eventually come up. I do talk about this in my other videos, so more in detail. So if you want to watch that video, I believe it's part 2 video, I do talk about melasma. Next question is, can growth factor help heal hyperpigmentation? Now she's referring to is my ultimate growth factor serum. Yes, it actually can. Hyperpigmentation is a damage to the tissue. Now what ultimate growth factor does, it helps rebuild and heal that damaged tissue. Now, it's not just for pigmentation. It can actually help with anti-aging, any type of damage to the skin. It can really help repair that tissue. So as far as pigmentation goes, yes, it can help. I have hyperpigmentation on my back that is super stubborn. Any suggestions? Definitely. I can suggest is the retinol radiance, which is, it is pretty active. And I think for the back, you can maybe do it every day. Start every other day and then build up to every day. That way, this will help slough off any dead skin because the body is thicker. So you want to slough off a little bit more dead skin and then start using the luminance as well. So at some point, I would suggest doing the retinol radiance one night and luminance serum the next night. So alternate the two. Initially, start like maybe 2-3 days of the retinol, slough off that dead skin, and then start alternating the luminance serum and the retinol. What is the best way to get rid of acne scars? I tend to pick at my blemishes. So what I would suggest is first watch part 1 and 2 of my videos. That way you can see the type of pigmentation or scars you have. And that way you can address it and treat it properly. So if you have PIE, which is post-inflammatory erythema, this happens right after a pimple has occurred and it's flattened out, but it left a red mark. I would suggest starting with the copper complex peptide and the phyto-calming serum, and definitely avoid any brightening, bleaching, exfoliating acids or cleansers that have them for a couple of weeks. Maybe just use more of like a gentle cleanser, stay on the more gentle side, get rid of that redness or at least help heal it. Unfortunately, once that becomes a pigment, and it may happen, once that becomes a pigment, I would say then start with the luminance serum and use it every other day or maybe 3 times a week. Initially, build up to every other day. Why is hyperpigmentation much harder to get rid of in people of darker complexion? The reason why is darker complexions tend to have more melanin activity than what we call a Fitzpatrick 1 and 2. So I'm a Fitzpatrick 3. 1 and 2 is more of the Irish, light skin, super fair skin. So when they get a trauma or a cut or a pimple, they have more of the PIE, which is the red marks, and then it goes away. Less often, they get more of the hyperpigmentation. The darker we are, the more active the melanin is. Do chemical peels or any advanced skincare technique work for this? What I would suggest is chemical peels definitely help because it needs to get rid of some dead skin to lift that pigment off of the skin and get rid of it. You can also do laser treatments. IPLs are really great for hyperpigmentation as well. Is it possible to completely get rid of hyperpigmentation? If so, what do you recommend? It does depend on the type of pigmentation you have. So if you have hyperpigmentation from a breakout, yes, absolutely possible. But if you have melasma or sun damage, melasma is really impossible to get rid of. You can suppress it. You can maybe get rid of it for a couple of months. It will come back. If it's sunspots, that's a super difficult one. But usually if it's from a breakout, yes, you can get rid of it. Would you recommend using kojic acid for hyperpigmentation? Yes, absolutely. Kojic acid is actually a natural brightening agent and it's from mushrooms. So I love kojic acid. I think it's really nice and gentle. much more gentler than hydrocodone. So I think that's a really good ingredient to use to brighten the skin for sure. Can you get hyperpigmentation on your body, face aside? Yes, absolutely. A lot of people get hyperpigmentation on their backs, their legs, or their buttocks. It's possible because your skin is skin. There's no difference from here to here or your legs. Your skin is all one organ. So it's very possible if there's a trauma somewhere, it can definitely cause hyperpigmentation. How long does it take for marks to go away? It's honestly, it really depends on your age. It depends on the skin type. Some people heal faster, some people heal slower, depends on your routine. So if you're using a lot of acids in your routine and constantly exfoliating, chances are you're not going to heal as fast as a person that would be hydrating, healing the skin. So, and it really does depend on the type of pigmentation you have. So if it's from acne, I would say cool it and maybe not use so many acids on a daily basis. Take a break, maybe do more hydration so you can actually close the wound and help heal and hydrate the wound versus constantly using acids and reopening up that lesion. So it really depends, but I can't really say it takes 3 weeks. I can't give you a time because everybody's different. Also, should hyperpigmentation be spot treated or use products on the entire face? This is actually a really good question. A lot of times people will have, hypothetically, they'll have like a pigment here and then a pigment here. So what they do is they'll take a brightening serum or product and they'll just apply it all over their skin because some people think, well, let me prevent the pigment from happening if it's happening here, or you can't really prevent a hyperpigmentation because it's going to happen if it happens. If there's a trauma that happens here, you're going to get that pigmentation regardless. So don't try to prevent. I would say maybe just spot treat the pigmentation and get rid of it. So I usually say don't fix the problem until it happens. Once you see the pigmentation, treat it then. All right, guys, that concludes all of our questions from Instagram. Thank you so much for asking these questions. They were all really great questions, and I hope I answered them as much as possible. If you have any more questions, feel free to comment down below and let me know, and I would be happy to answer more questions. And I hope the video 1, 2, and this video was helpful. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.